So without further ado, I will stop talking and present to you Tom Jaeger, the CEO, CEO, Packet Time, and ExpressionEngine owner. Okay, I'm not, that's your coffee?
That is my coffee.
Okay,
yes.
I'm not gonna, I won't.
I managed to keep it away from Paul long enough. Awesome.
I will figure out what I forgot to say.
All right. Just need 1 minute. I'll try and drag a window over. Oh, it's full screen over there. Huh? Right. Take my phone out so I can keep track of time just a little bit. All right, hey. Welcome to the ExpressionEngine Conference 2025. We're excited to be here. We'll jump right in. So, welcome. Right off the bat, I want to give a thank you to the ExpressionEngine Conference Association. I have gotten a chance to see what goes into it over the last few years, whether it's locations or venues, sponsors, speakers, hotels. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and everybody here is better for it. So, I want to say thank you to that. As I was preparing this talk this year, I was thinking about ExpressionEngine and specifically starting to think through kind of last year's conference talk to this year's conference talk. And one of the things that stood out to me were contributions from the community. So I've never done this in a talk before, but I want to give some shout outs. Right off the bat, I'm sorry if I get somebody's name wrong. So, all right, Eric Swizerzek. I want to give him a shout for adding a bunch of hooks, bug fixes to grid and toggle. Also a large performance scope in some cases where logging and site pages were in use. That's coming up in an upcoming release. Jonathan Hardesty, have a better pronunciation. A bunch of bug fixes. Gavin, you give a wave. Jay Cogs, as people may know, pulled in a active record implementation to get indexes from tables as well as documentation. Brian Litzinger, he did a fix to categories tied to multiple upload locations across MSM sites. I know it's kind of a strain of thoughts or a train of thoughts. It is, one of those bugs though, or I probably call it more of a feature, honestly. That Brian pull requested in. He also made credit, description, and location fields searchable. Doug Black modified comment notifications as well as channel notifications, which is coming up. Eric Lamb in 7.6, which is not out, PR'd in a backup manager, so in the control panel now you can see backups, as well as a bypassed IP throttling. That's going to be in 7.6 as well. Did improvements to search when used in conjunction with caching, and then ongoing cart throb. Always taking time to work with us and the community on cart throb. Jared Cheesebro, documentation updates as well as MFA and environment file additions specifically. I also want to call out Travis from Hop. There's kind of no two ways about it. Travis has absolutely destroyed docs this year in the sense that's very good. I believe we have, in a good way, we have something to the tune of 18 doc PRs from Travis have been merged in, and I believe right now we have almost 10 open. So, and then others. I didn't get to highlight everybody. There are several people who took time to fix typos, probably even PR'd larger things. So if somebody's here specifically or watching the video that I didn't call out, I'm sorry, but we thank you for it. As many people know, our main objective with ExpressionEngine is to promote human flourishing to the extent we can through a content management system. And all of these contributions help all of us in here. It's not just us at Packet Tide, if you will. Similarly, beyond this, I want to give partners a shout out. Partners, we're working currently to add more value to our partner network, but at the same time, we benefit tremendously from the partner network. one of the things that comes to mind is the 7.5 release where we did the generators. We demoed that, Robin and I, to the partners, and basically got feedback that we were heading the wrong way. We had a lot of HTML in it, and the partners were basically unanimous, like, get rid of that HTML. We just want the template code that we can drop in and run. And that proved to be correct. It was a very good approach, and it was received very well. So, all right. So when I think about the conference and the last time we shared here, and where we are currently, I would summarize this past year as a lot of forward movement for ExpressionEngine. Really when I was working through the conference talk, one of the main questions started to become, what do I share, but what do I not share? And I think that's a good place to be when, hey, we don't have enough time in this presentation to go through everything that's happened in the past year or where we're going. So we are a bit limited in time. We're gonna go through a lot of things. I'm gonna share several things that we're working on, potentially planning to work on. I just wanna mention at the onset though that I don't know the timeline around when everything's gonna be released. And there is things that we're talking about that may never be released. So just kind of take that with a grain of salt. And if there's something you're wondering about, come ask us. Whether it's in a month, 6 months, whatever. We're happy to chat on it. We will also be demoing more in depth tomorrow at Mayhem. Some stuff we've been working on. So real quick note on Mayhem. I know Lydia covered it, but many people last year, that was our favorite segment. It's a really good time. All right, so let's jump in. What have we been up to? Unit tests. I know this doesn't sound like fun. We've added full test suites to channels, template structure, pro search specifically. We've basically doubled the number of unit tests in the core. Might not sound that exciting, but the reality is what this lets us do going forward from a modernization perspective is pretty exciting. And the speed of development increasing as such. So we doubled unit tests. This is in addition to integration tests. For those who don't know, integration tests, you can think of it like it's a scripted mouse click-through typing that basically runs through the entirety of the control panel. We do that across all PHP versions that we support. That's not true, actually. We don't do 7.2, but we do 7.4 through 8.4. All right, PHP 8.4 and 8.5 support. Since the last conference, we dropped PHP 8.4 support. In August, we also added known PHP 8.5 support. I say known because at that time, the spec for PHP 8.5 was not finalized. That's coming out in November of 2025. CoilPack 2 released. So that supports Laravel 11 and 12. Big additions there. It brings the graphical or GraphQL inspector into the control panel of ExpressionEngine. We also had a lot of additional support for tags that people know and use in ExpressionEngine, specifically with Blade and Twig. And we also added template generator support. Espresso Store. This was a big one. In the last year, we brought back Espresso Store after a several-year hiatus with the release of version 7 of Espresso Store. This is a pretty cool project for us. Matt worked on it extensively. We brought it back. We did find a very old test suite we were able to bring back as well, which led us to functionality that's disappeared for many years in Espresso Store coming back as well. It's a quick screenshot of it in version 7. With that, oh, I got a kick out of that. There's an Easter egg in there. With that, we also added USPS, yes, and FedEx support. There's also more to come. Specifically we're aiming for DHL and UPS on Espresso Store. Whenever this comes up, CartThrob is the next question I always get. What's the status of CartThrob? CartThrob 9 is going to be released before the end of October. So that's right around the corner. All right, so what else have we been working on? Well, there's a lot. And when I tried to figure it out, again, I was trying to think through what do we hold back. We are going to share a good number of things, and some of this will see the light of day, and some of it won't. Let's start with theming. Theming is something we've talked about publicly a bit. We've talked about it with the partners like a bit more. People may remember that, and I already mentioned this, but our chief aim is to promote human flourishing and context of CMS. Theming plays into that, but it's not just theming, it's what theming allows us to do and opens the door for. So we actually brought theming to a place where it was fully functional. And then we paused and we realized, hey, if we changed architectural approaches, we could actually deliver a lot more value with theming or byproducts of it. So we'll look at some of those here in a minute. Theming, how does it work? Effectively, you build an ExpressionEngine site. You would go to the theme manager. You would say, create new theme, give it a name. It packages up your entire site into a zip. So it's entries, categories, statuses, templates, channel entries, boom, right in a zip. And you then can drag and drop it into the theming service, a big upload, drag and drop, and it will install your entire site. It's pretty cool, honestly. It's pretty powerful. This did, however, shine a light on a few areas that we needed to address. One of them is the good old mailing list. Does anybody here recognize this screenshot? So some of you remember this. It was simple. It was straightforward. It worked great. We have had to bring it back for EE7. Part of that is with theming, we realized we really need a way to just package up mailing lists when people submit emails or to have it on your site available. We are making a change or two to the EE2 version. The EE2 version did allow you to tie in with the email system and effectively send mass emails through your site. That is just not a good practice. So we have removed that. Eventually, our plan is to have it auto-sync with email providers. And you can basically have somebody submit their email address, and it will go ahead and tie it to your MailChimp, your mail coach, things like that. It does support double opt-in out of the gate as well. I do want to make a quick note here. Literally, as we were finishing this, JSubscriber X was also released in the add-on store, and it basically does what we were looking to do and supports several different third-party offerings. So it looks amazing. I haven't used it, but I think it's worth a shout out, worth checking out. Okay, API. So while we were working on theming, one of the questions that started to arise was, could we actually use, if we made these changes, the underlying technology in theming to create a CRUD REST API, create, read, update, and delete. This is still a bit further out, but at this point, we do have a working implementation of a REST API in the core. So it's a very simplistic one at this stage, but based on how the technology is built, we should be able to support all fields, fluid fields, grids, things like that out of the gate with it, which would be very, very cool. Okay, let's stop here for just a minute. API and theming. There is more, a good bit more to both the API and the theming. We'll leave that there. If people have questions, let's talk. Let's come get me in between sessions or after this if you want. All right. Let's chat hosting. Hosting comes up at every conference, and it comes up at least once a month, I'd say, in Slack. You've built the site, so now what? Let's be real, this slide's actually here for Robin. For those who don't know, Robin loves dogs. The thing is, hosting is hard, and this slide's here for me. And Brian. Brian's been the chief architect on hosting. So, when you get into hosting, a lot of questions come up. How many resources do I need? What happens if something fails? What's a PHP FPM? Is my server secure? Who will keep my software up to date? How do I handle updates and future deployments? Can I send an email? The reality is that at times hosting can come between you and a finished project. The reality with ExpressionEngine is we want to keep people focused. And this has kind of been a guide of ours as we've been working on hosting. Right up there with how do we look at hosting and get into hosting while elevating ExpressionEngine. So quick shout out to Matt. This is a picture of Matt took. So I want to introduce you to Lyft. Lyft is resilient and reliable. I have to blow up my notes a little bit here if I can. Sorry. Each environment is load balanced for greater performance and reliability. You have DDoS protection and optimization through Cloudflare specifically. dedicated database clustering with automated failover. Uploads automatically utilize highly durable and distributed cloud infrastructures. Everything is backed up. Your code, your database, they're all safe. They're in the cloud. They're easily accessible. We designed it to be quick and simple. It's fully managed and inclusive with no extra services required. Instant access to your site through a free randomized domain name as a self-certificate. You can easily switch between PHP versions. You can do a zero downtime deployment from the control panel or the CLI, and you don't even have to use Git. You obviously could use a Git workflow if you prefer. We are designing it to be valuable and economical. ExpressionEngine licenses are included. We use cloud storage solutions to provide great performance and redundancy at a low cost. The idea is it's going to be simple pricing and an all-in-one subscription. Nearly all plans will have the ExpressionEngine license in it. Part of our goal for this is to remove the equation of the ExpressionEngine license when comparing it with other open source CMSs. There will be reseller opportunities. Right now, we are aiming for the first quarter of 2026. It will initially be invite only. If anybody wants to chat on it, let's chat. All right. So I'm kind of fire hosing it because I don't know how much time I actually have. So we'll keep moving here. What else have we been working on? Part of the fire hose too is if people want to chat on something, we'll have a little bit of Q&A, but we can get everything out there in the public and chat on it, over the course of the conference. All right. Well, in this day and era, if we don't talk AI, I think it's a huge miss. MCP. Mentioned this to partners already. By show of hands, does anybody know what an MCP is for AI? Okay. Awesome. So an MCP, it's called Model Context Protocol. Essentially, it's a way to provide tooling and other resources to an AI model, large language model. You can think of OpenAI, you can think of Anthropic, things like that. So I'm happy to say that we've been building an official ExpressionEngine MCP. The MCP is really a standard of interaction. There's a few different ways you can work with it. There's an official PHP library that was released. We did harness that. In short, it's a way that we can provide a series of tools to a large language model. They're often used in an IDE, like Copilot or Cursor or Claude Code, things like that, that give context-aware tools to the AI. So what do I mean by context-aware? It actually knows about your specific EE install, what's in there, channels, things like that, to be able to interact with it from the model level without you. So what does it do? So currently we have 36 tools. It allows you to do things like have AI reach in and generate your template code. So if you have HTML, you can have AI just automatically say, hey, you give it a prompt, please implement my blog channel into this template, and it will get the generated code, implement it into your HTML for you. In addition to that, it will create add-ons, migrations, field types, actions. It'll back up your database. You can sync conditional fields with it. So these are all things that you can prompt AI to do on your behalf. Update file usage, sync file, upload directories, install, uninstall add-ons, etc. Matt's going to be demoing this tomorrow. Matt's played a very pivotal role in the MCP. But you don't want to miss that. It's in the time we're in with AI, we felt this is a very needed step for developers to be able to fully utilize what's before us. So when? We're putting final touches on it currently. Our plan is to release it before the end of November publicly. So I would encourage people to catch Rowan's talk as well. Where's Rowan? Rowan's going to be talking about, I'm going to say AI workflow for development. Is that pretty accurate? Awesome. And then, as we mentioned, we'll demo it in Mayhem as well. All right. When I sit back and reflect on kind of last conference to where we are now, as a product, there's been a lot of forward movement. I'm very happy with it as a whole. This isn't all. There is actually a good bit more. I don't know how much time we have or not, so I'll pause there. And if we don't have time now and here, do I? Okay, awesome. Well, I have another, what do I have? 17 slides we could do. Before we do that, though, is there any questions? Q&A. Yeah, so right now, headless implementations generally would require bones or coil pack using graphical API. You could use this directly. That's almost mostly on the reading front. You could also use JavaScript for the creation of entries at this point, and even complex entries. It's a good question. But there's definitely a headless aim. There's a more streamlined approach to working with it versus people often wrap things like channel forms and work with those, which does work to pull off, REST or a CRUD type function, create, read, update, delete. So. Yep. The CRUD API would be for the whole CMS. Yep. Kind of shed a little light on that. At this phase, our prototype, I would call it, is really just on entries. It's not doing statuses, categories, things like that. But we focused on entries primarily. Yep. Exactly. Yep, yeah, great question. Will developers be able to extend it for their own modules? I don't think we're that far in architecture. I think the initial question was, hey, could we actually do this like we think we could? And the answer was yes. So, I mean, I could definitely see hooks getting put in there for extensions. Beyond that, I foresee us supporting custom field types. A way to harness it, I mean, from an add-on beyond that or extend it, it's definitely doable. It's not there yet. It's a good question. Other questions? Will that be basically like an action endpoint, like an action URL endpoint, or is it custom? Don't know yet. I can tell you we've been working with an action. It's the easiest way to get started, but yeah, good question. Other questions? All right, I'm going to skip one slide here. We'll keep moving. We didn't chat ExpressionEngine 7.6. We chatted a lot of what we've been up to and things we've been building, but we didn't get into version 7.6. So again, I'm going to reiterate there. I'm going to mention things. They may or may not make it into 7.6. And we always had the goal of theming being in 7.6. We do have questions around that now as well. All right, so let's take a look at some of what's on the dock for 7.6. For those who don't know, our minor releases, the 0.6, are much more akin to major releases on many platforms at this point. We've done that on purpose to facilitate stability on an ongoing basis. Control panel theme, a high contrast theme. It's been needed, it's there. With that as well, we do have, maybe, yeah, I'm not gonna mention that one. We'll keep moving. Logging. We're currently replacing the logging system in the core. We're gonna use Monolog. It's a very widely known package, supports a lot of network-based logging systems as well. Updating EE. This has been a pain point for a long time. If I update it locally and then I deploy my files, the database changes didn't happen in production or in the staging environment. So we will be deploying essentially with the install, the updates. That will, at least off the bat, have to be harnessed through the command line. So you have to have a deploy workflow. Once it goes down, CLI command runs, updates run, and you're good. Focal point, the ability to set a focal point on images when cropping or manipulating images. We're adding an editor column to the file manager, or the entry manager, sorry. The file manager, specifically with cloud files, has a huge performance update coming. That might end up getting shipped prior to 7.6. Partials and variables, revisions are being added to them in the control panel So you know how you have template revisions, things like that. We'll also see that for partials and variables. Conditional fields, we're adding more options to make fields conditional based on. Name conflicts and file uploads, specifically the auto resolution will be an option. The ability to select image manipulations in the file picker when adding an image to an entry. Redactor. The newest version of Redactor is being implemented. It's been interesting. We jumped from Redactor to Redactor X, and then almost immediately, Impervy, the company behind it, changed Redactor X to, I think they just end-of-lifed it actually, and then they renamed the original Redactor to Redactor Classic and released Redactor. So it's been interesting. We did license with them. They have an email editor as well, like a WYSIWYG email editor. We did license that with them, so that will be put in the control panel at some point as well. That's a bit of a sneak peek on 7.6. That's the end of my slides. So I'll share one more thing, that we have a very large announcement that we're aiming for before the end of the year. But that's all I'll say at this point. So it's not included in here, but we're pretty excited for it. We think it's one of the biggest things that we've certainly done with ExpressionEngine in the 5-6 years that we've been at the helm. So we're excited for that. All right, any other questions? Sorry, I had to. Rowan. Yep, so there is, I kind of mentioned two different features. One was the focal point, and one was selecting the file manipulation when you choose the file. Off the top of my head, to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know how integrated those are or not. I know it sounds funny. I have not personally gone through it in depth yet. So I know that we have both of the development done. I have not gone through the testing of those. So. I wish I had a better answer for you. Yeah. Good question. Travis. Yeah, so first quarter of 2026 is when it'll be available. Everything is effectively going to be in a load balance environment, multiple nodes. We mentioned database failover as well. When you execute the command to upload the site, by default, it'll go to a staging domain. Just kind of it's kind of like a randomized domain. If people have used like Vapor, for instance, it's kind of like that. Just boom, here's your domain. SSLs will be done through Cloudflare, I can tell you that. By default, we don't have pricing nailed down, so I'll share a little bit of our thought process, but this could all change. We are hoping that the entry-level plan would be somewhere in the neighborhood of the $30 price range, and go up from there for larger sites. We will likely do a lower tier than that without an ExpressionEngine license. Everything goes on multiple nodes. As you go up in tiers, your site will be load balanced across more servers, essentially. Assets. When you get into assets, it gets interesting, right? So you have, there's a lot under the hood that we've had to figure out from a technical standpoint to pull this off. But you basically just work with your assets. Locally, you upload it. We will automatically push those to the cloud. It preserves all of their usage in the content, but they will be on a cloud provider at that point. CDN, everything's auto CDN as well with Cloudflare. I don't know, Travis, anything else here? It's the idea is we want to elevate. How do we do hosting that elevates the ExpressionEngine experience? And how do we get it like as much out of people's way as possible? And that's where we got into deployments through CLI or the control panel. It is very likely that once your site is of a certain size, you'll have to use a CLI to push it up. But yeah. You said you don't have to use GIF, but you could work it into a GIF. Yep. 100%. So it's like a It's so when you get into deployments across multiple environments, it gets pretty interesting. But how you roll that out, same with updates, right? Um, so, but yeah, it's a good question. Yep, yep, 100%. So effectively, in the end, your images will be pushed out from a cloud provider, like Cloudflare, R2, for instance, something like that. Absolutely. Yeah. Any other questions? Oliver. I missed your question. Email. Great question. We're not going to support mailboxes for like users. However, we will offer like transactional email services as part of it. Our plan is actually to offer that outside of hosting packages as well, because we realize that comes up often. Like, hey, how do I send email through a transactional provider easily? So we are planning to do that. We've worked with 2 or 3 providers to line that up. So yeah, good question. Initially, it's going to be to the developer, whoever opens the account. You can have multiple people tied to an account. We don't have all of the reseller end of it ironed out. I would imagine that at that phase, you could have your clients pay directly. So, it's a good question. Yes. Yep. So at this phase, content is not migrating between environments, other than if you want to take production, move it to staging, for instance, you could do that. That does bring up, there is multiple environments as well, which brings up a good point. So you can say like, hey, take my prod and create a new staging environment out of it, and it will just give you your staging environment. Content is interesting in the CMS world, I would say. People may remember we demoed Portage some time ago. Does anybody remember that in here? So Portage was the migration of structural data between environments. We have a lot of that done. We did hit a major roadblock with Portage between performance and reliability, so we went back to the drawing board, re-architected it, and have a lot of it working at this point. We have actually decided that we're going to release it before the entirety is completed, because we feel like there's enough supported in it that we could do that. Content migrations is kind of like a next level, right? Many people refer to that as like the holy grail in CMSs. We do have methodologies or ideas around that on how to do content migrations. Some of that ties into some of the theming stuff we've worked on. We're like, okay, hang on. Because I mentioned you can snapshot it, bring it over to another install, and it has your content too. Could we actually harness that? So I'm not far enough down that. I shouldn't say we are not far enough down that road, if you will, to tell you, yep, content migrations are coming. But I would say it's a possibility. Yep. Yep. You take a database snapshot right off the bat if you want. You could just push it directly to staging if you want to do that. Pulling down local, I mean, you could do that a couple different ways. Get workflow would be the most obvious. A packaged up version would be the second. So, yeah. I don't know that we'll do. I don't know the answer that we'll have CLI commands for the database run since it is fully managed. No SSH access. You can get SQL dumps easily. SSH access, no. Again, because you're across a bunch of nodes. Depending on what tier you are, this number of nodes goes up. So we give you SSH access to box A, but you're on A, C, and E, for instance, 3 different servers in the cluster, the general rule would be like, don't make environment specific changes on a server when you're in a load balance setup. You really need everything mirrored across. So, that's a good question. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks.
Awesome. Other questions? Left field questions. All right. This isn't the only shot, so if anybody wants to talk, come grab me. Happy to chat. Yeah. Cool.